Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the BFL Footy Show for another week. Proudly supported by McDonald's, Ballarat, and also Ballarat Toyota. Once again, I'm joined by the great man, Shaun Kelly. Welcome, Shaun.
Thanks, mate. Great to be here once again.
Big weekend of action ahead, mate. Only 2 rounds to go in the BFL senior competition. It's amazing how fast the season's gone.
I know, it's a bit scary to think that the finals are just a couple of weeks away, but it's going to be a ripping final series this year, so everybody is looking forward to it.
Very good. The first game we'll look at is a massive game between Bacchus Marsh and Melton. Bacchus Marsh need to win if they want to play finals footy.
Look, so do Melton.
Yep.
Believe it or not, Melton is still alive. They have a lot of things that need to go right for them to win the finals. And have a look at this week's record, because I've actually laid it out a little bit in this week's record, exactly what Melton need to do to get in the finals, but it's still possible. But to happen, it needs to start at Bacchus Marsh tomorrow. Bacchus Marsh, they'll probably be a little bit flat after last week, but they need to put that aside and get back up. Their season hangs on this game tomorrow. They can't afford to do what they did last time against Melton, where they led early, tied it up in the last quarter, got their nose back in front, looked like they're going okay, and then Melton just went bang and ran over the top of them, won by 5 goals. So they need to make sure they play a full 4 quarters.
Next game's a massive game between East Point and Lake Wendouree. East Point were 9th about a month ago, and they've really played some good football over the last 3 or 4 weeks. Glenn Wilkinson's done a really good job, obviously a first-year coach. He's taken a while to mould the group together. As we know, they lost a lot of key players in the off-season, but he's played the kids, and they've played really well the last month. If they win on the weekend, they'll play finals footy, I think. A massive game on both sides. I think East Point can win at home. Yeah,
look, East Point moving into the top 6 for the first time this year last weekend, and pretty good time to do it as well. The winner of this game plays finals. There is absolutely no doubt about it. The winner of this game will probably finish 5th as well. So really good chance for both East Point and Lake Wendouree. I've watched East Point last week. I was impressed with the way that they came back against Bacchus Marsh and really just chipped away at them throughout the game, got their nose back in front and then ran over the top of them in the last quarter. But having said that, the Lakers played probably their best game of the year last weekend after neither of us really tipped them on the footy show last week. So maybe they used us as a spur. I don't know. But they've got a big game this week. They'll appreciate getting out onto the Eastern Oval and being able to run. They found some goals last week, which was the one thing they'd been missing since Lucas Anderson went down. That target up forward. Nick Oringo played his best game for the season last week. Kicked 5. Hazy kicked 5 as well. Took a Mark of the Year candidate as well, which is on the screen at the moment. So good to see Hazy getting up, and boy did he get up with that one as well. But really good chance for both teams. I'm sitting on the fence a little bit with this one. I've just got a feeling that the Lakers might get up here and cement their final spot.
And the Party Boy Pitson dropped forward last week and kicked 2 goals 4, I think it was.
2 goals 4.
Sneaking forward, the lad out of the middle.
Yeah, not good, 2 goals 4.
He'll work on that, I think.
Come on, mate.
Melton South take on Darley. Big game for Darley here. They need to bounce back after their disappointing loss last week to North City. I think I was a bit surprised. I thought Darley might have been a little bit more competitive against North City last week. They've now got 2 weeks to get some good form back into their players, and hopefully for their sake find some really good form leading into the finals, because that loss would have been disappointing for them. I know they rallied, I think, after quarter time. North City jumped them early, but I think they'll be too strong for Melton South on the weekend.
Danger game for Darley, because Melton South, it's their last game of the year. They've got the bye in round 18.
Matthew Sutton,
it's the last time we're ever going to see Matthew Sutton on a BFL field, and he has been, if not the best, one of the best players to ever play at the Melton South Footy Club. So you can bet your bottom dollar the boys are going to lift for that tomorrow. Anthony Pever and Reece Miles back into the side gives their midfield a huge boost. Sutts kicked 6 last week as well, so he's going out still reasonably on top of his game. This is a big chance. I reckon Melton South nearly cause an upset here. We said the same thing last week and they didn't fire a shot, and they're coming up against a better side this week, but you've just got a feeling the sense of occasion could lift Melton South over the line. They'll want to win that one last time for Sutts.
You speak about players and teams lifting for milestones or players playing the last game. Do players need motivation? Do they need something to get themselves up? Like, what's your opinion on players getting up for big games?
It depends on the game, really. Something like this for Matthew Sutton, who has been an absolute stalwart of the Melton South Footy Club. If the players can't get up for that, there's something wrong with them, let's be honest. It's their last game for the year. They know they've got Mad Monday coming up this week. Everything is in line for the Melton South Football Club to go out and give their best performance of the year. If it's a 200th game or something like that, it is a bit of a spur, but you're right. Do people need the motivation sometimes throughout the season? Depends on where the club sits sometimes. Depends on their circumstances. Like if it was North Ballarat City this weekend, for instance, that had to get up for a milestone game or something like that, probably wouldn't read too much credence into it, because they know where they're going. They really don't need too much motivation to keep going. Other clubs, different story. Sebastopol, obviously, last week we saw with Wayne Sheridan with the coach change, very nearly pulled off the victory. I reckon it'll be similar with Melton South this week.
Very good, Shawnee. Redan take on Ballarat at the City Oval on Saturday. Big game this. I mean, the winner finishes second. I think. Look at the loser. I mean, you finish third. You still beat 6 and you get back into a second semi-final the second week. So,
or you don't beat 6 and you're down at the City Oval Hotel drinking froth.
Yeah, but
that's the big problem with finishing third. It's not a guarantee. Yeah, if you win, it's a fantastic achievement because then you get your double chance. If you lose, though, and especially this year, if Ballarat lose and come up against East Point in the first week of the finals, East Point will be backing themselves hugely. There's absolutely no doubt about that. It's a dangerous year to finish third.
Yeah, so look, I think Ballarat can win this game. I think they're playing the better footy at the moment. Chris Proctor backing into the side. He's played the last month or so in the reserves and played some pretty good footy, kicked some bags of goals. I just think that Ballarat are going a fraction better at the moment, and I think they can win.
It'll be interesting to see with all the tools, because they brought tall players back in. Sam Conroy's back in, James Lukic is back in, of course, Proctor. The ground out here at City Oval isn't exactly in pristine nick. It's going to be heavy, especially with 2 games on it beforehand.
Yes.
By the time it gets to the 2:15 bounce, the ground will be chopped up a bit, so it'll be which team can handle the conditions better. I'm still on Redan's bandwagon. I haven't seen anything from them in the last few weeks to suggest that they're not going to be right up there once the business end of the season finishes. They were rolled over against North City a couple of weeks ago. Fair enough, they left it in the sheds after half time. I spoke to Eamon Gill about that a few weeks ago, but look, I reckon they can still get up and over the line. Not having Chris Giampolo is going to be a loss for them, but I reckon they can get over it given the quality of their midfield.
Very good. Now, the last game we'll look at is played on Sunday at Eureka Stadium between North Ballarat City and Sunbury. If Sunbury win this game, I think they'll play finals footy. It's interesting because I think East Point play Darley next weekend.
Next weekend, yep.
And Sunbury play Lake Wendouree. So if East Point happen to beat Lake Wendouree, which could happen, and Darley lose. Sorry, who wants to say?
So you want?
And Sunbury lose to North City. This weekend. Sunbury will play Lake Wendouree
for a spot in
the last weekend for a spot in the final. So I think North City will win this game. But if East Point beat Lake Wendouree, it's a massive game between Sunbury and Lake Wendouree next week.
Oh, that's right. And look, Sunbury have beaten North City this year. Don't forget that. They beat them up at Clark Oval.
Yeah, look, North City had a few players out that day.
And Sunbury had probably... Jack Sheen kicked 10 goals that day. Daniel Toman had an enormous amount of touches who won't be in the side this week. It is a bit of a different story.
Yeah.
Ryan Luke and Mark Gregg out of the North City side this week, though, makes a little bit of a difference. Still, you'd think North City would be too strong. If East Point, you're right, if East Point do win, that sets us up for a cracking round 18.
If Lake Wendouree win, if Lake Wendouree happen to beat East Point and Sunbury lose this week, they can still make it because Darley play East Point in the last round.
Yeah.
Darley can win that, and Sunbury can beat Lake Wendouree last round. So there's a few scenarios to.
Oh, that's right. Look, Sunbury they wouldn't lose any heart if they lose this week. Sure, the ladder's going to see if they get flogged. That could be the issue, though. If they go down by 10, 15 goals and drop a chunk of percentage, that's when the worry starts coming in because then, even if they're on the same points, even if they finish up on the same points as Lakers by beating them next week, they could end up missing out on percentage. That's right. There's a lot of scenarios. It's going to be more clear, obviously, at the end of Sunday what's going to happen, but it's just a really good weekend of footy.
But if Sunbury happen to win this week, they won't have to worry too much about what happens with East Point and Lake Wendouree.
Correct, because then they look after their own destiny.
Right,
and they know that if they win this week, they win next week, they're still in. They can lose next week and still get in, depending on other results. So the permutations are there.
Yeah, a bit of cat and mouse. So it's interesting to see what will take place. But Shawnee, a big weekend of action, and we've got the Youth Girls Grand Final on Sunday at the SN Oval at 12 p.m. between Redan and Lake Wendouree.
That'll be a ripper.
Been the two best sides all year, so hopefully we can see a good crowd down there on Sunday.
Yeah, I reckon that'll be a great game as well. Obviously, those of you who haven't seen a youth girls game of footy, come down to the Eastern Oval and watch it on Sunday. Do yourself a favour because these are the two best teams in the competition all season long, and they play a really attractive brand of footy, and you get to hear the Dodger Brady's dulcet tones over the mic all day.
And with the Robbie Allen medal next week, mate, on Wednesday, it's always been a great night, especially the last couple of years when we've had netball involved.
Yep.
Another cracking night coming up, Sean.
Yeah, looking to fill the Ballarat Lodge to capacity. They're very nervy about the numbers that we're going to get in there because we're looking at 650-odd people again. Nick Maxwell, of course, Collingwood Premiership captain's our guest speaker, and he is one of the better guest speakers going around. Make no mistake about that. I spoke to him earlier this week. He's chomping at the bit to get out there and meet the best players of the football and netball ranks in the Ballarat Footy League, so it's going to be a great night once again. If you haven't got your tickets yet, talk to your junior club secretaries, is right now, make sure you get them on the phone and make sure you book your ticket because we're going to be at capacity for the night and there's not going to be too many extra tickets available after next week.
Very good, mate. Once again, a massive weekend approaching. As we know, finals footy in both the junior and senior sections is not too far away, so exciting time of year.
Yeah, definitely.
Mate, you're off to, I suppose, a couple of games on the weekend?
Yeah, well, obviously we've got the Under-10 Lightning Premiership this week as well on Saturday, so I'll head off to that on Saturday morning, and then I think I'll head down to the Eastern Oval because a couple of really good games of footy and netball being played down there on the weekend, so looking forward to seeing that. Very
good, mate. Thanks again for joining us on the BFL Footy Show for another week.
Always a pleasure.
As we know, the show is proudly supported by McDonald's Ballarat and also Ballarat Toyota. Now it's goodbye and enjoy the weekend at the footy.